Welcome back, Giants fans. I am super excited to get back at it for my third mock draft in this new segment that I call the Gettleman Project. In this project, I will be going through every possible draft scenario that I think Gettleman and the New York Giants could possibly face. And in the video, I will be playing the part of Dave Gettleman. So far, we've gone through two scenarios. In the first scenario, we saw the Giants trading down from 6 to 11. By doing that, they were able to, of course, it was a first-round swap, and then they were able to get the 42nd overall selection by the Bengals, as well as a future second-round pick. By doing that, they filled a lot of holes, but they did not address the quarterback position. In our second mock draft, we had the Giants staying put, and they got their quarterback of the future in Dwayne Haskins. But by doing so, they had less picks to fill the holes that they really need to fill on this football team. Everybody knows the offensive line is still a big question mark, and the defense needs a lot of help. This mock draft, I am going to have the New York Giants trading for Josh Rosen. Now, of course, this is the perfect day to do this after all the rumors have come out that they're one of the three teams that are in on potentially acquiring him. Now, they're just rumors, and we'll see if it comes to fruition, but it's fun to talk about. And in this mock draft, I'm going to have the Giants trading with the Arizona Cardinals. They will be giving up their second-round pick this year, which is the 37th overall selection, as well as a future third-round pick. So in this mock draft, we're only going to have two picks in the first round. The 6th overall selection, and the 17th overall selection. Now, I could potentially try to trade back up into the second round, but in this mock, we're not going to do that. So we're just going to do a first-round mock in this mock draft because Josh Rosen is essentially our second-round pick, so we don't have to go over that. So we have pick 6 and 17. And with those picks, we need to fill some holes. As I've gone over in my last few mock drafts, the four biggest needs for the New York Giants, in my opinion, in this year's upcoming draft is the quarterback position with Eli Manning aging, the edge rusher, they certainly need to address that, the cornerback spot with a thin secondary to begin with, and Jenkins, I suspect, will be off the team after this season, as well as the offensive line. They need a lot of help, whether it be the right tackle or the center position. I'm not confident with Jalapeno going forward. I think he will be the starting center to open up camp, but he very well may get overtaken by someone we take probably in the later rounds in this year's draft. But if they're going to take an early offensive lineman, I think it would be at the right tackle. Now, of course, by this Josh Rosen trade, we've already filled one of those needs. We've gotten our quarterback of the future. Eli Manning still very well may start this year in this situation, especially because we're paying him $23 million, but Rosen is the quarterback of the future. We're not giving up a second-round pick for him not to be our future quarterback. So what this trade does is it scratches off one of these. We no longer have to worry about the quarterback, not just for this draft, but for the upcoming 2 or 3 drafts. So it's nice to have that out of the way. So we got 3 things to address. We got to get more depth at the corner. We definitely need to get a pass rusher, and we definitely need to get a right tackle. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Just like our previous 2 mock drafts, we're going to have the same exact top 5. And in future mock drafts, this top 5 will change based on certain scenarios. But in this mock draft, I saw no reason to change it. Now, I could have had somebody jumping the Giants to get a quarterback, but in this scenario, the Giants already have their quarterback, so what point is it in a team like, for instance, the Redskins or the Dolphins or the Broncos? Why would they jump all the way up to 4 when they don't have to? I mean, maybe they're scared somebody else will do it, but there's no threat in Haskins going before number 7 or 8. So I don't see that scenario happening here. So I'm going to stick with the same top 5. Of course, we have Kyler Murray at 1 to the Arizona Cardinals like I've had in my last 2. And in this scenario, I mean, it makes perfect sense. They just traded away Josh Rosen. They're obviously doing it so they could acquire Kyler Murray. At number 2, the 49ers get what many believe is the best player in this year's draft. Not the best athlete in the world, but unbelievable technique. This guy is a great football player. The brother of Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, will be playing in San Francisco. At number 3, the Jets get their best edge rusher since John Abraham, and he has the potential to be even better, and that's saying a lot. And the Jets have needed an edge rusher for some time. They have pretty good interior defensive linemen. They have a pretty strong secondary. It's emerging. But they absolutely need an edge rusher, and Josh Allen is perfect for them. At number 4, the Oakland Raiders are up, and I'm going to stick with this. Now, they may not go this path, and in future mocks, you will see I will change it. But Quinn Williams, to me, is too good to pass up if I'm the Oakland Raiders, unless I trade down. I have to take him there. I got Quinn Williams going to Oakland. At number 5, the Bucs are up, and everybody knows they have a huge need in the for their middle linebacker, and they've been rumored to love Devin White. I got Devin White still going to the Tampa Bay Bucs, and that puts me in a tough spot at number 6. So here we go. So here we are at number 6, and what a tough spot in the draft this is. Because we're sitting here at 6, and I'm hoping for these guys to fall to me. I'm going into the draft thinking Devin White, that's a possibility. We might be able to get him at 6. Quinnen Williams, if somebody trades up, he might fall to us at 6. There's some possibilities here. Maybe, by the grace of God, Josh Allen falls. But unfortunately, it was status quo, and the top 5 went where they were supposed to by my draft board. And I don't know what to do here, to be completely honest with you. I've looked all around to trade. That's the first thing I'm trying to do. I am trying to trade down in this spot. Now, since we've already simulated that, me trading down from 6 to 11, we're not going to do that in this draft. We are going to stay at 6. We'll say we tried to shop it, and nobody gave us something that we thought was a fair price. So, we sit here at 6, and we know our 3 biggest needs. Cornerback, pass rusher, offensive line. Cornerback is definitely the least important because we do have 2 starters, although Sam Beal is wet behind the ears. Pass rusher is definitely the biggest need in my opinion, and right tackle is a close second. And there's certainly some good right tackles here. You go Jonah Williams, you go Jawan Taylor, you go Cody Ford, you go a lot of guys here. Andre Dillard. You could go with some offensive linemen here. There's no doubt about it. It's the safe pick here. It's absolutely the safest pick in this situation is to go with a tackle. And anybody watching this video that would go tackle, I would not blame them. The reason I'm not going to go tackle is because I think I'm going to get a very good one at 17. I'm not going to go corner for the same reason. If I want a corner, I think I'll be able to get him at 17. It may not be Greedy Williams. It may be Byron Murphy. It may be DeAndre Baker. But I'll be able to get one of the top 3, and I think they're all damn near close. I think you could split hairs with those 3. So that's why I'm not going corner, even though I may even believe that the next best player is a corner. Just based on value, I can't do it. Pass rush is our biggest need, and there's certainly something to choose from here. I'm not head over heels for any of these guys. I'm really not. Now, the top prospects here are Rashawn Gary. You've got Ed Oliver. You've got Montez Sweat. You've got Calais Farrell. You've got Brian Burns. Those are the 5 guys I think I'm looking at in this situation. Now, in terms of fit for the scheme, that's the next thing I'm going to look at. Okay, Ed Oliver, as much as I love him, and I took him in my last mock at 17, I think he's awesome. I think he's great. We do have some young emerging players that play his position. We have B.J. Hill. We have Dalvin Tomlinson. Now, I think Ed Oliver is going to be better than those players, but that's not our biggest weakness on the defense. The same can be said for Rashawn Gary. As much as I like him, yes, he could play on the outside as well. He could play in the DN spot in the 3-4. I think he's best suited in the interior, being that big-bodied, athletic guy, getting that push up front. I absolutely love him as well, but same thing. I think we could get by with what we've got. So our biggest weakness is on the edge, and in this spot, we could choose an edge rusher. So that brings it down to me, to Brian Burns, Montez Sweat, and Calais Farrell. Calais Farrell, in my opinion, is more of a 4-3 edge rusher. In my opinion. I don't think he fits this system perfectly, even though I do love him, and I would take him at 17 if he was there. So that crosses him off the list. So I am down to Montez Sweat and Brian Burns. Now, Montez Sweat had some health concerns, but everybody says it's a clean bill of health. You do not have to worry about it. It is not going to affect his draft stock. And because of that, I just think Montez Sweat fits our defense. I don't even know if he's the best prospect. I like all these guys. I don't love any of them. I don't think any one of them is a no-doubter. And like I said, the best possible thing to do here would be to trade down if we could get the right suitor. But unfortunately, in this scenario, I couldn't. So because of that, I'm going to have to stay at 6 and take Montez Sweat. I think he fits this defense perfectly as an edge rusher. Blazing speed, yes, he needs to work on some things. But blazing speed around the edge and has a high ceiling. I think he fits the system. He fits what we need. He fills our biggest need. And I'm going to go with a high upside player here at 6, Montez Sweat. So let's get back to the draft. Let's go over the next picks between 7 and 16. So here we are back at number 7. The Jaguars are up and the Giants are up at 11 picks. So let's get right back to it. The Jaguars are going to take the same guy I've had going to them the first 2 mock drafts, Jawan Taylor of Florida. By most people's standards, he is the best offensive lineman in this year's draft. I think the Jaguars played safe at 7. At number 8, the Lions are up, and the Lions, I'm going to go with the same guy I had in my last mock draft. They could use a playmaker for that offense. Help them out a little bit. They addressed the defense somewhat in free agency with Trey Flowers. They could definitely use a playmaker. TJ Hockenson is that guy, the tight end from Iowa. Like the pick. At number 9, the Buffalo Bills are up, and same thing. The Bills addressed the offensive line. They definitely brought in some playmakers as well. They brought in a nice slot receiver in Beasley. A couple other nice little moves, but they could use a big time target for their young quarterback in Josh Allen, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to hope DK Metcalf is the real deal and hope that he helps out Josh Allen at number 9. At number 10, a lot of ways I could have went here. Could have went corner, but the Broncos addressed the cornerback in free agency. Could go pass rusher for sure. A lot of good pass rushers out there. But just for the sake of the mock, I'm going to go with Drew Lock. Now, everybody knows John Elway's been rumored to love Drew Lock. So in this scenario, he takes him at 10. At number 11, the Bengals get good value here as Dwayne Haskins, the guy most people would have the Giants taking at 6, falls to 11 to Cincinnati, of course, because the Giants made the trade to acquire Josh Rosen. At number 12, the Packers are up, and like I've done in my first mock draft, I believe, I have them addressing the interior part of that defensive line. They, of course, got some nice edge rushers in free agency. They got a nice safety, but they could use Ed Oliver in the middle. At number 13, Rashawn Gary. I just think he's probably the best available player at this point. And the Dolphins, I have them passing up on a quarterback. I don't have them reaching on Daniel Jones. Rashawn Gary here to the Dolphins. At number 14, I'm sticking with Brian Burns to the Falcons. I think he makes too much sense there. They get themselves an edge rusher. At 15, Redskins, same guy I've had. Greedy Williams, he's going to fill in for Josh Norman. At 15, give me Greedy. At number 16, Jonah Williams goes to the Panthers as they could use an offensive line. And here we are, the New York Giants are up again on the clock at number 17. And this is another tough spot. Let's get right to it. So here we are back on the clock at 17. And this is very similar to the situation I was in my first mock draft when we traded down picking at 17. I said that this selection was between either a cornerback or an offensive lineman. The reason I went corner in that draft was because I thought I'd be able to get there was a better chance I would get an impact offensive tackle in the early second round than I would a corner. I thought that there were only 3 big-time impact corners, and I couldn't pass it up. Now, in this situation, I don't have a second-round pick. I traded away for Josh Rosen, so it's tempting me more to go offensive line. Even though I still think I could get a decent tackle in the third round, there's a lot of good names out there. Cody Ford, Andre Dillard. I could get somebody here. Bradbury to play the center position. There are guys there on the offensive line, and I would not knock anybody for going offensive line again here. It's definitely one of our biggest needs. However, I just like the corners too much here, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get a good corner in the third round. I think there's a better chance I'll be able to get an offensive lineman in the late third round that will be able to make an impact on this team. Not to mention, I think I have the ability to trade up with the plethora of picks I have from rounds 4 to 7. I could couple that with my third round pick, a few of those, and move up to the early third round, late second round, and maybe get an offensive lineman that way. But that being said, I'm going to go with my best player available here, and it's the guy I had in my first mock draft at 17. I'm going to stick with him, DeAndre Baker of Georgia. I love this kid. I think he's got a very bright future, and I think he will be a starter alongside Sam Beal for years to come. And I think it makes sense for the Giants. Gettleman's philosophy is he does not like to spend a lot of money on cornerbacks. Well, this makes perfect sense then, because with the $100 million you have in free agency next year, you'll be able to use that on the positions where you want to spend money, the offensive line, the pass rusher. You'll be paying your top corner on a rookie contract. So I think it makes a lot of sense from Gettleman's philosophy, and I just love Baker here. We need a cornerback for this year as well as the future. Janoris Jenkins won't be here next year, and I don't trust Sam Beal. He's never played a game yet. We need some depth at the corner position. So I like Baker from Georgia here at pick 17. That's going to wrap it up. That is the Josh Rosen trade scenario. Now, by doing this, we got our quarterback of the future. We gave up a second-round pick and a future third, and that gave us the freedom to fill in some holes on the defensive side. Now, I certainly could have went offensive line, and definitely would have to go offensive line in the third round, as well as the fourth and fifth. I mean, you would need to get some depth on that offensive line. I don't trust Wheeler and Jalapeno going forward full-time, so they're going to need guys that can compete with them in camp. They definitely also have the option, with as many picks as they have left, to use those picks to trade up into the back end of the second round or beginning of the third, whatever, to try to get an impact tackle. And I think there will be some there. Somebody will drop, whether it be a Kaju. Somebody will drop to the back end of that second round, and maybe they do it that way. Or they just find some guys in the later part, some beefy guys that could compete for that right tackle spot, that center position. And that is the route I would take here, because what I did, I got Montez Sweat, who, yes, he's not a slam dunk. But in my opinion, nobody's a slam dunk after the top 3 defensive players in this year's draft. I mean, I really believe that. I like a lot of these guys. I could have won a lot of guys there, and I could have played it safe and went offensive line. There's no doubt about it. I could have went Jawan Taylor. Could have went Jonah Williams at 6. A lot of people might have done that. I decided to try to fill our biggest need and find a guy that fit our system. Super athletic, and I like Sweat there. I don't love it. I would have tried to trade down in that situation, but in this mock, I wasn't able to do that. Then at 17, I went out and I got a corner for the future. Again, I could have went offensive line. I definitely could have. A lot of people could have went there. I just thought Baker was too good to pass up, and he filled in one of our biggest needs. So I like Baker as a future part of our team going forward. So tell me your thoughts on the mock draft. What would you have done differently? As always, if you like what you watch, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.